Hey there, folks. Welcome back to another episode of our podcast, Deliverability Dialogues. We're diving into something today that might not sound super exciting at first glance, but stick with us. This deep dive is all about cleaning your email list, and you'd be surprised just how much there is to learn.
Oh, yeah, you're so right. And it really can make or break your entire email strategy.
I know. It's kind of like...
You spend so much time thinking about the message.
Yeah.
But then, what about the list itself, right?
Exactly. And we've been digging into some fascinating research on this whole process, sometimes called email list scrubbing. And trust me, there's a lot more to it than just hitting delete on a few old addresses.
Totally. Before we get into all that, though, let's do a quick level set. What exactly are we talking about when we say email list?
Good point.
I mean, at its core, an email list is basically just a collection of email addresses, right?
Right.
And you use it to send out your messages, your newsletters, your promotions, all that good stuff to a whole bunch of people at once.
Okay, so we've got our list. What happens when things get a little, shall we say, messy? What are the consequences of not keeping that list squeaky clean?
Well, a messy list can lead to all sorts of problems. For starters, your emails might not even reach the people you're trying to reach.
Oh, no.
Right. Then there's your sender reputation. That can really take a hit. And then you might even end up paying more for your email marketing platform.
Oof, that's not good. I'm already feeling motivated to clean up my act.
Yeah, and it all comes down to those outdated addresses lurking in your list.
So how would we even know if we have a bad email list? The research we're looking at today actually has some pretty clear signs to watch out for. Things like old lists that have grown super fast, and those with a ton of role-based addresses, like info at or sales at.
Those are definitely red flags, and
Yeah.
they each signal different problems. Like with those old lists, think about it. People change email addresses all the time, right?
Makes sense.
Maybe they switch jobs, ditch their old accounts, or maybe they just decide they prefer Gmail over Yahoo. Whatever the reason, over time, those old addresses become invalid.
That makes total sense. And I bet those rapidly growing lists can be a bit of a mixed bag, too.
Oh, yeah. While organic growth is fantastic, if a list explodes overnight, it might mean it wasn't built through genuine interest, Maybe it's packed with addresses acquired through, less reputable means like buying lists or scraping websites.
So not all growth is good growth.
Exactly. Those methods often lead to way more invalid or unengaged addresses, and that's not what we want.
Speaking of things we don't want, the research also mentioned this 2% rule for bounce rate. Can you break that down for us?
Sure. So the bounce rate basically tells you what percentage of your emails aren't getting delivered. You calculate it by dividing the number of bounced emails by the total number of emails you sent, and then multiply that by 100.
Got it. So if I send out 100 emails and 3 bounce back, that's a 3% bounce rate.
Yep, you got it.
And that's already over the 2% threshold.
Exactly. Now, if your bounce rate keeps exceeding that 2% mark, it's a big red flag. It could mean a bunch of things, like you've got a lot of invalid addresses on your list, or maybe your email content is triggering those spam filters.
So we need to get to the bottom of that.
Yeah, ignoring it is not an option.
This is starting to feel a little bit like we're email detectives uncovering clues.
I like that. We're trying to figure out why those bounces are happening and what's causing that low engagement. It's not enough to just see there's a problem. We got to understand the why behind it.
Okay, so let's put on our detective hats. What are some of the usual suspects when it comes to email list troubles?
Well, on the technical side, you might have things like invalid email addresses, mailboxes that are completely full.
Overflowing inboxes, I can picture it.
Exactly, or even server issues on your end.
So it's not always the recipient's fault.
Nope. Sometimes the sender has some technical hiccups to address.
Yeah.
Then there's the content itself.
So what we're actually sending out.
Right. Low engagement could be a sign that your emails just aren't resonating with your audience. Maybe the content isn't relevant or interesting enough, or maybe you're not segmenting your list effectively and you're sending out these blanket messages that don't really speak to specific interests.
Right. Segmentation. That's where we divide our list into smaller, more targeted groups.
Right.
Based on certain criteria.
Exactly. And it can make a huge difference. Think about it. Someone who signed up for your, say, cooking newsletter.
Oh, yeah.
Probably isn't that interested in updates about your new line of gardening tools, right?
Not really, no.
Yeah.
So we've talked about assessing our list's overall health, understanding why those bounces are happening and why people aren't engaging. But how do we actually pinpoint the bad actors on our list? those specific addresses that need to go?
That's where step 3 comes in. We got to look for specific types of email addresses that are known to cause trouble.
Give me some examples. What kind of addresses should be setting off alarm bells?
Well, some are pretty obvious, like addresses with incorrect domain names or typos in them. Then you've got those bounced email addresses, spam addresses.
Oh yeah, those are trouble.
And then there's something called catch-all addresses.
Catch-all. I've never heard of those.
So these are addresses that are set up to accept any email sent to their domain, even if the address itself isn't valid.
Well, really? Why would anyone do that?
Businesses sometimes use them so they don't miss any potential messages, you know?
I guess that makes sense.
But for someone sending out mass emails, those catch-all addresses can really mess with your metrics.
I see.
You don't know if a real person is actually receiving and opening your emails or if they're just going into some void.
Okay, so we've covered assessing our list's health, figuring out why we're getting bounces and low engagement, and then identifying those problem email addresses. But now what? How do we actually clean things up? Where do we go from here?
That's where the real work begins. Steps 4 and 5 are all about dealing with those inactive or unresponsive subscribers. And this is where segmentation becomes incredibly important.
So instead of just saying goodbye to these inactive folks, we try to re-engage them first.
You got it. Remember, a smaller engaged list is way more valuable than a huge list full of people who don't care. But before you start deleting everyone, try to win back those inactive subscribers with targeted re-engagement campaigns.
Okay, so we're giving them a chance to opt back in if they're still interested. I like that approach.
Yeah.
But how do we create these re-engagement campaigns? What makes them stand out?
The key is to make them feel special, you know, and really entice them to jump back in.
Okay, so what if, even after all that effort, some subscribers just remain unresponsive? Is there a point where we just got to accept that it's time to let them go?
Absolutely. If you've tried your best and they're still not biting, it's better to remove them from your list.
It almost feels counterintuitive, but I get it.
It's like this. A smaller list of people who are genuinely engaged is way more valuable than a massive list full of people who are just ignoring you.
Makes sense. Quality over quantity, right?
Exactly.
Okay, so we've tackled re-engagement. Now, what about those pesky duplicate email addresses? I know I've accidentally signed up for things multiple times before. What kind of chaos do those duplicate entries create?
Oh, duplicates can cause all sorts of headaches. Think about it. You might be sending the same email to the same person multiple times, which can get pretty annoying for them.
Oh yeah, that would drive me crazy.
Right. And it can mess up your engagement metrics too, because it looks like you have more people interacting than you actually do.
Ah, so it's like having these phantom subscribers inflating your numbers. How do we get rid of those duplicates?
Yeah.
Is it a matter of manually merging entries?
No. You don't have to do it all manually. Most email marketing platforms have features to help you out.
Oh, good.
They can automatically find and merge those identical addresses, or at least flag them for you to review.
That's a lifesaver.
Yeah.
So much easier than going through a massive list by hand. Okay, so we know how to deal with duplicates that are already there. Is there anything we can do to prevent them from creeping in the first place?
Absolutely. One simple thing you can do is use a double opt-in process.
Double opt-in?
Basically, when someone signs up for your list, they get a confirmation email, and they have to click a link in that email to actually confirm their subscription.
Uh-huh. So it's like a double check to make sure the email address is valid.
Exactly. And that helps cut down on those accidental duplicates. It's all about maintaining the integrity of your list right from the start.
Love it. Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here. Assessing our list, understanding the reasons for bounces and low engagement, identifying and removing those problematic addresses, re-engaging inactive subscribers, and dealing with duplicates. What's the final step in this whole email list cleaning journey?
The final step, but definitely not the least important, is setting up a consistent cleaning schedule.
Okay, so this isn't a one and done kind of thing.
Nope, not at all. Email lists are constantly changing, right?
Makes sense.
People are always changing their addresses, their interests shift, new subscribers join. To keep your list healthy, you gotta make cleaning an ongoing process.
So it's like tending a garden. You need to regularly weed out the unhealthy plants to let the healthy ones thrive. How often should we be cleaning our lists? Is there like a magic number?
There's no one-size-fits-all answer, unfortunately. It really depends on how big your list is and how fast it's growing.
I see.
But a good starting point is cleaning it every 6 months or so. You can always adjust that based on your specific needs and what you're seeing in your metrics.
So if my bounce rate starts creeping up, or my open rates tank, That's a sign it's time for a cleaning.
Exactly. It's all about finding a rhythm that works for you in your list, Not letting things get out of control, but also not going overboard with constant cleaning.
Right. Finding that balance.
And it's not just about having a tidy list, it's also about protecting your sender reputation.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
ISTs, the companies that provide internet service, they keep track of how you're sending your emails and who you're sending them to. A clean list helps you build a good reputation because it shows them that you're only sending emails to people who actually want them.
So it's not just about getting our emails delivered. It's about making sure they actually land in the inbox, not the spam folder.
Right. And a clean list is a sign that you respect your subscribers and that you're following best practices.
Like we're showing that we care about their experience.
Exactly. Think about it. You put all this work into creating amazing content, designing beautiful emails.
And do.
You don't want all that effort to go to waste because your emails are getting flagged as spam or ending up in some black hole of inactive addresses.
That's a good point.
Mm-hmm.
The list itself is just as important as the content we put in those emails. Well, that's all the time we have for today's deep dive into the world of email list cleaning. We hope you found it informative and, dare I say, maybe even a little bit inspiring.
Until next time, happy emailing.